Good evening and a warm welcome to GRTS. This is the news at 2000 hours, broadcasting live for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. On the top of our stories this hour, His Excellency President Adam Barrow grants audience to the management of the National Youth Council at the State House. A severe row between two scholars, President Barrow expresses concern over threatening jabs between Imam Ba Kausu Fofana and Sheikh Musa Boto Seidi. GRTS examines the impact of unstopping showers as August brings continuous rains, flooding roads and communities in several inner city areas. In sports, Morocco's Sofiane El Bakli ends Kenyan dominance of the men's 3,000 meters triple chase after winning gold in the Tokyo Olympics. Away from home, Germany moves to return precious articles from the original places they were taken from. Plus, the World Bank says 50% of Nigerians want to leave the country in search of improved lives elsewhere. Well, details on that and much more coming ahead in this edition of the news. Do stay with us. Well, my name is Aissatou Keita and it's great to have you here. We begin with His Excellency President Adam Barrow, who granted audience to the management of the National Youth Council at the State House on Tuesday. The closed-door meeting gave members of the council an opportunity to discuss their operational activities with the President. Louis Mende has the details.
The executive of the National Youth Council have been discussing the council's activities with His Excellency President Adam Barrow during the closed-door meeting at the State House on Tuesday. Usman Fati, the executive director at the council, said principal among those activities is the ongoing countrywide campaign to sensitize youths on the importance of peace and the need to promote the gem now and forever as the country heads into the December 4th presidential election.
Our campaign is to have peaceful election, before the election, during the election, and after the election. This is our main activity at the moment. So we are involving, almost all the youth groups are involved to have a peaceful election. Because election is nearer. We have Gambia, we don't have any other place apart from Gambia. So if peace prevails in this country, it will benefit all of us. And the young people form the majority of this country. So this is why our advocate, our campaign at the moment, we have other activities, but this is our main activity at the moment.
Mr. Fati said they also used the opportunity to return gratitude to President Adam Barrow and his government for his investment in youths, citing the introduction of the sports levy.
The sport levy, we are able to do a lot, and that was not there before. The sport levy came into being during Adam Barrow's government, which we are really pleased because he's doing a lot. He's changing so many lives. Plus the Navy, currently, they've given money to Navy to help young entrepreneurs. Because Gambian, as President says, we should lead and others should follow. So if you see young entrepreneurs engage in business, that's a plus for us. That's a plus for us. And as a result, irregular migration has dropped down.
The President said Mr. Fati was pleased with their visit and to learn that the council has taken the smart initiative of promoting peace as the basis for sustainable development.
His Excellency was very pleased to receive us. He said he is well informed about the activities. What he thought, what his thinking was, and then when he received us are completely different because, as you all know, NYC is apolitical. For us, we work with almost all the youths, and then youth belongs to different political parties. So we don't, belong to any political party. So he is very pleased for receiving us, and then he's been well informed about activities, and he is very, very pleased.
Musambai is the Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Youth and Sports.
We are very impressed. We are very encouraged by the fact that His Excellency the President has dedicated quality time of his busy schedule to receive the young people of this great country through the council, their representatives. So we are really very, very encouraged. And as a ministry, we are very much encouraged in our drive to empower the young people of this country through the support from the government of the Gambia.
The closed-door meeting between President Adam Barrow and the National Youth Council was also graced by Ibrahim Assisi, the Secretary to Cabinet. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Well, now to a press dispatch from the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, which expresses concern over threatening jabs between Imam Ba Kausu Fofana and Sheikh Musa Boto Sedi. His Excellency President Adama Barrow has expressed as very worrisome and totally disappointing the amplified trading of incendiary jabs and provocative verbal slurs between two religious scholars for some weeks now. The release says Imams Ba Kausu Fofana and Sheikh Musa Boto Sedi have been trading insults, malicious innuendos and threats that are worrisome, disappointing and totally inimical to our democratic and cultural values. Therefore, President Barrow wants to make it abundantly clear that his government values sanctity of human life and will not condone any person or persons seizing advantage of our new democracy to promote extremist violence in Gambian society. The feuding clerics are reminded that Islam is a peaceful religion that preaches tolerance and unity and should neither be abused nor hijacked to settle scores or weaponized to create chaos in our peaceful country. As learned scholars are revived religious leaders, both Imams Fofana and Sedi are reminded that their hostile verbal exchanges are offensive and terribly disappointing to the population, as their incendiary audios trending on social media fall far short of society's expectations. As a democratic country that values fundamental human freedoms, the rule of law and an independent judiciary, the law courts are here to remedy both civil and criminal disputes. Let therefore be no illusions that no person, regardless of one's religious or political standing in society, is above the law. Openly threatening violence, death, and destruction to fellow citizens is unlawful and shall not be condoned under any circumstances. No one, regardless of one's political or religious influence or affiliation, has the right to threaten the peace and tranquility of the country or undermine its national security. In the last week alone, the release adds Imam Fofana and Sedi's vitriolical exchanges reached fever pitch, with both hurling insults that could potentially cause a dramatic and catastrophic conflict among their followers. The President urges Imam Ba Kausu Fofana and Sheikh Musa Sedi to nurture tolerance, amicably reconcile their personal differences, and resolve to maintain good neighborliness in the interest of peace and national harmony. The release ends. And now to non-stop rains that have marked the first days of August in the Gambia. The country is witnessing unremitting downpours bringing unprecedented rainfall in contrast to poor rains many earlier predicted. Our reporter Aissatou Gassama visited various flood-prone sites to assess the impact of continuous rain showers across the metropolis.
3 days of continuous rain and inner city areas are bubbling with water that continues to increase as August keeps up a constant drizzle that has many missing the sun. It's a stark contrast from previous weeks in July, when the most rain the country had was a damaging windstorms. That has led to many predictions of poor rains, but August has changed everything, with uninterrupted rains looking particularly promising for farmers. We visited the National Disaster Management Agency in the early hours of Tuesday morning to find out if there is any report of damage caused by the 3-day rain spell, and this is what the agency confirmed.
So far, we have not received any damage as a result of yesterday's rainfall. I have contacted all the regional coordinators across the country, but no incident of flooding has so far been received.
This type of rainfall is usually a blessing to some, but difficult for many, especially wetland communities such as Ibo Town and Talinding, where more rain brings floods and increasing challenges in road navigation. NDMA boss Sanada Harbour said great efforts are being driven to protect communities and boost national resilience.
The government of the Gambia is seeking funding from the World Bank called the Coastal Resilience Project, and this project is coming up to possibly address the flooding of Ibo Town. As of now, we are starting what we call the Kotu stream. Just yesterday, I received a communication from the World Bank allocating $45 million to come and address the issue of flooding around Kotu stream. Ibo Town is also another investment area. The coastal road is also another investment area. Bond Road is also another investment area. But as a priority of Gambia government right now, we are putting more emphasis on Kotu Stream, and this is the investment option that has been agreed with the World Bank.
Meanwhile, Director Dahaba went on to say the welfare of Gambian people is a priority for his institution, which has been delivering support packages to victims and affected families of the July 7th disaster.
The government is coming up with a massive response. Government places high emphasis on the welfare of Gambian population, especially the victims. First, they allocated $10 million, and then the National Disaster Management Agency disposed $8,032,500 to 1,000, covering 1,071 victims. The cash allocation to the victims in the first phase have already been completed. In addition to that, the government of the Gambia also reallocated another $40 million. That's what we are now planning, so that by next week we can disperse that to support the victims who suffer as a result of the 7th July windstorm.
The impact of continuous rainfall is not only limited to floods. Health implications can also be a problem in wetland communities like Ibo Town, where children can be seen playing in muddy, stagnant waters. Residents say Ibo Town's flood is a signature of the area's yearly challenges, but recent rains have not caused any issue so far for families residing in the flood-prone zone. Along the Manjai-Kotu Silo area, this bridge is usually flooded, making access difficult for residents and drivers who are hoping that the unremitting downpour does not lead to more water and flash flood that make the area impassable. For the news, I am Aissatou Jata Gassama.
Well, to another press dispatch from the Personnel Management Office, urging institutions to administer the strict enforcement of COVID-19 regulations in all public establishments in view of the recent surge in COVID-19 cases in the Gambia. The release urges all heads of departments to strongly enforce national and international protocols in place to curb the spread of the deadly virus. These include the wearing of face masks, regular hand washing, and maintaining of appropriate physical distancing. Staff and visitors who do not wear face masks should not be allowed entry into public offices, according to the dispatch, which adds that public servants who fail to report to duties on account of non-compliance with the COVID-19 regulations should be penalized by deducting a day's pay from their next salary for each day they are absent, in accordance with General Order 03116. All permanent secretaries are accordingly advised to transmit this information to heads of their line institutions and departments, the release concludes. Well, let's stay with impact of rain showers. The regional office of the National Disaster Management Agency in the West Coast continues its unconditional cash transfer to families and victims of last month's windstorms in Brikama. On Tuesday, cash distributions were delivered to more windstorm victims urgently needing support for losses they incurred during devastating storms. The cash transfer was held in the West Coast region, West Coast region, was graced by officials of the Brikama Area Council. Senabu Jan has the details.
Effects of the July windstorm rains and damages. The National Disaster Management Agency West Coast Region Office Committee put together support worth of $500,000 to support 20 families, with a token of $22,500 each. This given in phases, accompanied by a monitoring and evaluation exercise to be carried by the members of the committee. Today's distribution gave each family $7,500 to begin with to assist on their damages. Binta C. Jadama, NDMA Regional Disaster Coordinator for West Coast, shared how she depicted the support.
We had a regional committee meeting. They gave us that pledge, and here they issued the check of $500,000. When we met as a committee, we discussed among ourselves and said to have a uniform response for the country, since government is coming up with this package, WFP is coming up with the same package, and Red Cross, why not area council's money? We use the same package so that all the survivors of the windstorm, the victims, will have the similar package, so that there will be equity among the beneficiaries.
As the cash donation was rendered under the leadership of the Birkama Area Council, Governor for the region, Lamin Sane, spoke on the importance of this cash donation.
Many people who were affected were able to quickly reconstruct their houses. And I'm sure it was at least nearly just Tobaski. Someone have to go and borrow money from people, from well-wishers, or from family members. So we thought it wise, instead of buying corrugates or other kind of materials, we gave them those monies back to them to go and pay their debts. So this is why today's ceremony is very significant, and we're able to target two key people. One, those who are at least disabled and are part of these people affected, and two, those who are highly affected by the windstorm.
Vice Chairman of the Birkama Area Council, Ismail Jallo, explained their intervention.
Council being an authority, tax authority, that is the place where they pay their tax. That's why it deemed necessary for council also to come up with a ransom and give them, to assist themselves.
The beneficiaries expressed their gratitude for the support, adding that the money given will greatly support them in restoring their homes.
Yeah, the wind caused a lot of damages because it has taken my roof all away, and in turn it found me in a very terrible position whereby Tobaski is coming, and then at this time of the rainy season it's never easy. So it's like the money will really contribute immensely to the development of my family, complementing the building and then making it stand strong as it was.
Wind blow most of the good things that we have, and then make our life very hard. We approaching to the feast, which is Tobaski. We have to enjoy it, but it turns to become something else. But thank God with this money, we'll be able to go and rebuild our houses properly, or pay back our debts that we took from other people to maintenance our houses.
Man, fi mom hana kontande ni def nañ seen liggéey bu correct.
The windstorm happened at a time we couldn't get immediate help. However, we went and hustled to get some money to fix what we could. Now, this money today has come at a good time because we can pay back our debts and continue fixing what was lost.
The West Coast Region Disaster Committee wished to support the windstorm victims who were affected during the rains. Zainab Bijain for GRTS News.
Now, the International Trade Center, in collaboration with the National Accreditation and Quality Assurance Authority, has developed 7 curricula for technical and vocational education training programs. The document was validated on Monday. Baba Sila has the details.
The validated document covers various sectors in the creative industries, which include film and photography, event planning and management, as well as music production and management. This is the first of its kind to design curriculum that aims to advance the art industry in an inclusive manner. The Chief Executive Officer at National Accreditation and Quality Assurance Authority, Dr. Jibril Jao, said the document is an essential tool for positive outcome. He urged stakeholders to thoroughly review its relevance.
What is before you is just a template. Make sure you do due diligence, do justice to the document so that it will be responsive to the national needs. We encourage you to be active participants in this workshop. We are on a journey of excellence, and we don't want anybody to be a passenger. We want you to be part of the crew members.
Yusuf Keita is the representative from the International Trade Center.
These curricula will facilitate further training, skilling, and certification of our youth in sectors previously left in shadows, such as music, photography, and filming, permaculture, and others. These are sectors that we are confident, with the proper guidance, can enhance employability of our people, especially youth and women.
Keita further thanked the European Union for financing the initiative through the YEP and the Job Skills and Finance Project. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Maud Seka, hailed the move as significant in relation to the advancement of Tibet in the country.
These efforts include the expansion of skills training in rural Gambia, and here the ministry is also taking the lead by trying to operationalize both Ndemban and Kanilai the soonest possible time.
In his part, the Director General of the National Center for Arts and Culture, Hasim Sise, said this is the first time since the independence in 1965 that the Gambia creative industry and practitioners are given the opportunity for a structured training program.
We have indeed gone very far. The collaboration between the ITC and stakeholders and the NCC as espoused in the creative industries roadmap continue to bear fruit, and it is our hope that the fruit will ripen to take Gambian creative industries to the high level of developmental indices that creates jobs and growth and social stability.
The validation involved various experts on the IT program to review and validate the curriculum. For GRTS News, I am Baba Silla.
While followers of Malian Sufi scholar Imam Usman Sharif Madani Haidara, the president of the Supreme Islamic Council of Mali, recently converged for a major cleansing exercise at the Serekunda General Hospital in Kanifing. Winifred Nicole has the details.
Following instructions from Mali-based Islamic Sufi Sharif Usman Madani Haidara, dozens of his followers recently gathered for a major cleansing exercise at the Serekunda General Hospital. The exercise saw volunteers clean up the entire hospital yard and surroundings in various facilities at the massive healthcare facility. Recalling the mobilizing of the Sufis' followers for the initiative, lead volunteer Abdul Aziz Diko described the hospital cleanup activity as an important activity that will help sanitize and reduce mosquitoes at the hospital.
This place is here we come to look for health. So with this all thing and mosquitoes, that is all thing can create the malaria or something like that. Since we are here, I think the place is open now.
Equally speaking, on behalf of the participants, Sali Konate and Mariama Haidara said they voluntarily cleaned the hospital's environment in consideration of its significance to the health of the public.
So they organize.
We chose to clean the hospital as a special contribution to healthcare directed by our religious leader, Mariama Haidara added. This is a great initiative because coming to our aid to help is very important, according to Susan Marie Kamara, a nurse at the Serekunda General Hospital.
At the end of the day, health is all about wealth, and the health of the patients don't start only with giving medication, but also the environment. On behalf of the management, we want to thank them because if we were to pay, it would have been a huge amount of money.
Lamin Fati, the National Coordinator of Child Protection Alliance, who also joined the cleansing exercise, applauded the group, noting that many lessons can be learned from their indulgence regarding much needed efforts to improve the country's healthcare system.
To say health is not everything, but anything without health is also nothing, absolutely. And I think learning from non-Gambians who happens to come up with the initiative to identify Serekunda Hospital, which is obviously a major hospital in the country, to volunteer to go and conduct such a cleaning exercise. I don't think there would be any pride for a better Gambian to not to participate in this. So for me, I think it is key that we have not gone to private residence, we have not gone to anywhere or anything that is politically related to this. But what is more important is the fact that at the end of the day, as citizens, as individuals, we have collective and individual responsibility towards advancement of this country.
The importance of hygiene, particularly in healthcare facilities, cannot be overstated. Volunteers and experts here underscored the need for concerted efforts in maintaining a clean environment in hospitals and treatment centers across the country. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Winifred Nicole.
We head to the Lower River region where the community of Jataba in Kiang West area inaugurated a new medical clinic on Monday. The facility called Jataba Community Clinic is funded through community contributions and donations mobilized by Jataba Youth Development Association as well as funds raised by a German philanthropist. Our regional correspondent Alajimbai tells us more.
The community medical facility was constructed by Jataba Youth Development Association in partnership with Mission of Hope, a German-based charity. The clinic, according to the main sponsor, Senior Hegel, is meant to improve access to quality health services for Jataba and its surrounding communities, particularly women and children.
We made it together, the water tank for the women, for the farming project, and the help for the pharmacy, also the water, the furniture, and especially our Mother Mary Hospital. Thanks to the Chataba, to all the people who helped me here, and to all the donators, to God who helped me and my family. Some words of Michael Jackson: heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me. And now let's celebrate. Abaraka, God bless you all.
The clinic is estimated at $5 million and includes a maternity ward, a pharmacy, and a borehole, amongst other facilities. The vice chairman of Jataba Youth Development Association, Lamin Dabo, who was also the manager of the project, said the facility will soon be furnished for effective operations.
We do the costings. It's about $5 million. We have started, but according to Senya, what she can do is to provide us the material. But the labor cost, that is going to be done by the community. She has provided about 4 containers, although it's part containers. There's these equipments and the health fittings inside those containers. The time that it's supposed to arrive here should be arrived before the opening of before the handing over of the building. But by 2-3 days time, we'll be able to receive the toilets and the wash and basins and other materials.
The Regional Health Director for Lower River Region, Bolong Jabate, assured of his office's support in the provision of staff and essential medicines. Mr. Jabate advises people to observe the COVID-19 preventive measures to curb the spread of the virus.
We would not only stop at giving you staff, but we will be supporting you for some basic medicinal requirements. I would want to tell the attendants of this inauguration that coronavirus is real. A lot of people are being infected daily and it's rising. A lot of people are dying of the disease. So being the case, the best method is for us to prevent ourselves.
Fatou Kamara, a young lady from Jataba, recited a poem to show appreciation to the donors.
Zinnia has a great personality and mission. This mission matches with the vision of the women of Jataba. The mission is to put an end to maternal mortality, to make sure no pregnant woman travel kilometers to access a health facility, to make sure our champions, the vegetable growers, have access to water in their garden.
Several other community members, including the chairman of Jataba Youth Development Association, Landing B. Sane, Alkalo Bakari Sane, and the women representative, Tombong Dabo, all thanked the donors for the project, adding that it will ease access to quality health services, particularly for women and children. Alajimbai, GRTS News.
Well, now to the North Bank, where the area council recently donated 690 bags of rice to disaster victims through its Regional Disaster Management Bureau. The donation seeks to support hundreds of families affected by July 7th windstorm, which destroyed scores of homes and killed several people in the region. Our regional correspondent, Famara Kanya, has the details.
190 bags of rice donated by the Kerawan Area Council to the National Disaster Management Agency for onward delivery to the victims of the July 7th windstorm that ravaged hundreds of homes and left many families in the region homeless. The distribution was of its kind, an exemplary move by the Kerawan Area Council that is meant to complement the efforts of government in its quest to respond to the needs of victims across the region. Samba MK Lee, the Chief Executive Officer of the Kerawan Area Council, disclosed that the food aid is part of efforts to demonstrate the Council's commitment to the welfare of taxpayers. This is the first time the Council is directly collaborating with the NDMA to respond to the needs of disaster victims.
Councils has observed that quite a number of the families is affected by the windstorm. We stood together, had a council meeting, then we decide that we should give out $500,000 worth of rice to the affected families.
Malamin I.L. Bojang, chairperson of the Kerawan Area Council, said the idea was agreed upon following an emergency finance meeting where $500,000 was proposed to provide food aid to the affected families.
When I did my assessment last time, after the 7th July windstorm disaster, I went and met people in their homes, in their villages, in their communities. But I realized that the storm has seriously impacted on the people's life. And the work of the council is to improve our people's life. And then if they are in a sorrow or mystery, I think council should come into their aid.
Lamin Selikan, the governor of the region, who also doubled as the chairperson of the disaster committee, commended the Kerawan Area Council for what he described as a timely intervention.
When disaster strikes, one of the most important things that people look for is food. So providing this for the region is an immense importance to the people of North Bank. And in my office and everyone in the region will commend you guys for your quick and response thinking that you did, and it's going to benefit a lot of people.
For the Disaster Management Agency in the region, the donation by the Kerawan Area Council is geared towards supporting the affected families in the region, as well as complementing the efforts of the Gambia government.
I think any support given to the people is worth it. So this rice will go a long way, in alleviating the food needs of the people, because so many supports have been coming. We are cognizant of the fact that the president have given personal donation, and that the government of the Gambia also is supporting cars, supporting people with cars, and individual people from our region are also supporting their own people, which is very good. And then we call on all partners. Here what is important is coordination. We need to coordinate our effort, because in response, coordination is very important.
Officials of the Kerawan Area Council said the donation is intended to ease the burden of feeding on the affected families. For the news, I am Famarakani.
And our Gambian centenarian and World War II veteran Payero Keta has died at the age of 125. The centenarian, who fought in the Second World War, is survived by 2 wives and 10 children. Keta is one of many centenarians enlisted under the British Empire in 1939. During the Second World War, which lasted from 1939 to 1945, the country was part of the British Empire as the Gambia colony and protectorate. At the start of the war between the British Empire and Nazi Germany in September 1939, the Gambia was home to a company of the Royal West African Frontier Force, which enlisted scores of Gambians into its ranks. While you're watching GRTS News, time for our first break. We'll take a look at news beyond our borders right after Tuesday. Quick look at the international headlines making news around the world, starting in Nigeria. Where 50% of the population wants to leave the country to seek better economic opportunities abroad, according to the World Bank. A recent report says unemployment and other social challenges have contributed to people trying to leave the country in search of improved lives elsewhere.
In Nigeria's capital, Abuja, the 2014 graduate of microbiology turned to professional beadmaking after her years of job hunting didn't yield much. Her business, too, has been on a downward spiral. She complains that doing well in an economy that of Nigeria has become increasingly difficult. So leaving the country is now top on her agenda.
I applied for Nigerian prisons, I applied for Nigerian immigration, I applied for so many federal parastatals, but I couldn't get. So I was like, okay, focus on your bid making. And even like now till now, it's still a struggle, but still no job yet. Lately, I can't even make up to 4,000 naira, but before I used to make up to 10. The cost of materials are very high. Started searching the web, looking for a scholarship that can at least get free scholarship to the next to study and just leave this country, and I'm just done. I know that I have a good skill, and yeah, the government doesn't appreciate it. Outside there, you can actually access a loan. You know, they can give you a loan to start up your business and make your life a little bit easier.
Waneka is among millions of Nigerians who are desperate to relocate abroad. A recent report by the World Bank revealed that about 50% of Nigerians want to migrate in search of greener pastures. That's 20% more than the figure recorded in 2014.
I'm tired of this country. And everywhere, every day, you just be thinking about how to make it. And when you wake up, you'll be thinking how to put food in your mouth. There's no any other alternative. Go to school, you will not see job.
My passport is ready. Any opportunity, if given a visa, I'll fly out, and that's it for me.
Experts say the number of those who want to leave the country could be higher.
Human beings naturally gravitate to better environments, socio-economic, political environments. And that is because the government of the country or the country itself has not been doing so well. And so people definitely want to go to different greener pastures, so to speak, where they feel their potentials or opportunities will be harnessed, and they have better potentials in terms of getting jobs and even health, education, and medical treatments. So that statistics for me is even low.
For several years, Nigeria has been experiencing brain drain. Key sectors like the academia are some of the worst hit. The West African nation spends billions of dollars training professionals only to lose them to other countries. To reverse the trend, experts say Nigeria would have to improve workers' wages, condition of service, infrastructural development, and policies that would enable businesses to flourish. Kelechi Emekalam, CGT and Abuja, Nigeria.
Well, this is GRTS News with me, Aissatou Keita. A quick look at our top stories once again before we end this edition of the news. His Excellency President Adama Barrow has granted audience to the management of the National Youth Council at the State House. A row between two scholars, President Barrow expresses concern over threatening jabs between Imam Bakausu Fofana and Sheikh Musa Boto Seidi. GRTS examined the impact of unstopping showers as August brings continuous rains, flooding roads and communities in several inner city areas. In sports, Morocco's Sofiane El Bakali has ended Kenyan dominance of the men's 3,000 meters steeplechase after winning gold in the Tokyo Olympic. Away from home, Germany is moving to return precious antiquities from the original places they were taken from. Plus, the World Bank says 50% of Nigerians want to leave the country in search of improved lives elsewhere. Well, that was all we had time for in the news at 8. Do join us again at 10 p.m. for more news. Until then, I am Aissatou Keita, and stay tuned for the rest of our programs.